Welcome to the WHHI-TV Daily News. I'm Betsy McDaniel in for Bob Stevens today. He will be back next week, but of course there's still a lot to talk about today, so let's get started with some headlines. Well, it seems that South Carolina may be in for a harsher hurricane season than originally projected. Even with El Nino, Colorado State University recently released an updated forecast that now calls for 18 storms, 9 of which are expected to become hurricanes, with 4 of those reaching at least a Category 3 status. Those numbers up the earlier forecast by 3 storms, 2 hurricanes, and 1 major hurricane. This latest forecast does take into account the 4 storms that have already happened this season. The season is, of course, from June 1st to the end of November. Back in 1997, Clint Eastwood helped put Savannah on the movie-making map with the film adaptation of the book Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. And Eastwood has once again chosen the hostess city for his latest project. He is here filming Juror Number 2, which, according to IMDb, looks at a murder trial where one of the jurors progressively realizes he, not the defendant, actually killed the victim in a careless driving accident. The state's leaders are flying around in 2 state-owned planes that are nearly 40 years old. The recently passed state budget sets aside $10 million to replace at least one of the old King Airs and possibly both. The current planes were bought in 1983 and 1990. There are some legislators who still question the state owning any airplanes at all. The current crafts are available to use for official business on a first-come, first-served basis. A recent state-run study says owning the planes is cheaper than using charter flights out of Columbia. When Beaufort County school students return to school next month, they'll meet 3 new principals, 2 of them at area high schools and a 3rd at Ladies Island Elementary. Ryan Welsh returns to Beaufort High as principal after a year away at Bluffton Middle School. Welsh was an assistant principal at Beaufort High for the 4 years prior to his 1-year move to Bluffton. Dr. Karen Webb from Monetta, South Carolina, which is near Aiken, will succeed the retired Todd Bornschower as May River High principal. And Jason Osborne gets the interim taken off of his title at Ladies Island Elementary. He'd been heading the school there since last November. Plans are in motion for 24 new tennis courts along Marshland Road on Hilton Head. The project is one of several parks and recreation improvements the town has planned for the near future. A draft of the plan shows 16 clay courts and 8 hard surface courts flanked by stadium seating. There is also potential for a neighborhood park, a paddleboat launch site, and a restroom facility nearby. Town officials hope the venue will one day host large-scale tournaments while bolstering the island's tennis culture for generations to come. And we told you earlier this summer that the summer reading and free lunch program through the library system was back for the area's youngsters. But the Hilton Head branch also offers some summer programs for adults as well, several of which are starting this week. Rise and Shine Trivia and the Page to Screen movie series both begin Tuesday, July 11th, with other dates to follow. The first movie in the series is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, and Thursday, July 13th, brings the Adult Art Studio session at 4 p.m., where creators of all skill levels can try their hand at a still life display. Artists can bring their own supplies, but pencils and paper will also be available. Call the reference desk at the library at 843-255-6525 for more information. The media sources on your screen will have more on these other stories, and we would love for you to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at WHHI-TV. And if you have an idea for a news story, we'd love to hear it, so drop us a line at news@WHHITV.com. Now let's find out what happened last night in the Lowco with Justin Jarrett.
Hey, it's time for Last Night in the Lowco on WHHI, powered by LowcoSports.com. 4 all-star baseball teams from the Lowco began their quest for state titles this weekend, and 3 of them are still fighting for the championship and still undefeated going into Monday. The host Beaufort County squads flexed some muscle on the first 2 days of the Dixie Boys and Junior Boys state tournaments at Oscar Frazier Park, racking up Mercy Rule wins in all 3 of their games. The 14 and under Dixie Boys routed Mount Pleasant 14-0 in Saturday's opener and rolled to a 12-2 win over Union County on Sunday. The boys from Beaufort County are one of 2 undefeated teams remaining in the bracket and will face Jefferson in a battle of unbeatens at 6:30 tonight. The 13 and under Junior Boys also cruised in their opener Sunday, smashing Oconee County 14-1. Beaufort County faces Tri-County at 5 p.m. and can clinch a spot in the championship game with a win. Up in Clemson, the Hilton Head 8 and under Coach Pitch All-Stars are off to a 3-0 start and set to face fellow unbeaten Lancaster this evening. The Island boys are playing some outstanding defense, allowing just 4 runs through 3 games and posting a pair of shutouts, including a 1-0 thriller against Gregg Park on Sunday. Neither team struck out, so that was all defense. The only Lowco squad that didn't survive the weekend was the 12 and under Ozone team from Hilton Head, which dropped its first 2 games to Midland and Mount Pleasant. District champs, heads high, fellas. For Lowco Sports and WHHI, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Lowco.
Thanks, Justin. What does the weather hold this week? Let's find out with Maria.
Thanks, Betsy. Yep, so taking a look ahead, it does look like we'll see a bit of a pattern when it comes to the thunderstorms we're going to see later this week. But taking a look at Tuesday, it does look like we're going to get a break from the rain we've been having. It's going to be sunny to partly cloudy, with Hilton Head having a high of 89, a low of 73. Bluffton's going to have a high of 91, a low of 72. And Beaufort's going to have a high of 90 and a low of 72. The sunrise for Tuesday is going to be at 6:24 and sunset's going to be at 8:31. Taking a look at the beach tides, low tide's going to be 11:50 a.m. and high tide's going to be at 5:06 p.m. Taking a look into the rest of the week, again, we're going to see a bit of a pattern. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's going to be partly cloudy throughout the day with a quick afternoon thunderstorm, and then it should be clearing up by the evenings. Wednesdays be high in the 90s, lows in the 70s. Thursday, again, highs in the 90s, lows in the 70s. And then come Friday, we are going to see a bit of an increase in the temperatures with the highs getting into the mid-90s and lows are going to get up into the 80s. That's it for today. Let's head it back to the desk.
Thanks, Maria, and we'll be back in just a moment with much more, so don't go away.